Hey, it's Voltaire Olitan, aka Volteezyknows on Instagram, hanging out with Ron and Eric right here on the Asian American Perspective.
All right, guys, thanks for coming in today. Today we got Voltaire Olitan. He's a retired MC and DJ who's taken part in the Chicago nightlife scene and music industry. He helped drive Dynasty Entertainment and its presence in the Asian scene back in the 90s and 2000s. During COVID, Voltaire was able to successfully start up a Twitch channel to become a variety streamer, DJ, gamer, podcaster, with connections across all social media platforms. These days, he is moonlighting as a DJ, doing gigs in the Chicago area. He's a husband and father of 2 boys. He's a professional negotiator and leader of Blue Cross Blue Shield. He's a power lifter, amateur, and a Second Amendment supporter. Dude, I'm glad you came on the show. It's finally nice meeting you. So there seeing you. God knows how long. Brought you on here. You guys are promoting an event coming up on August 10th at Joe's Rosemont called the Dynasty Homecoming. So why don't you tell us, about the whole Dynasty entertainment scene?
Yeah. I mean, so Dynasty Entertainment was, it spawned from Lyle Del Mundo, right? So he was the founder, the originator, and honestly, I met Lyle at the Hanover Park Lake Street train station. This is back in, I think, 98, 99. He was doing some promotion for consignment of car parts. So if you remember the import scene.
Oh, yeah.
Big in California. Everything in Chicago, and no offense to Chicago, I'm born and bred. We're a little bit behind by a couple of years. So California was the trendsetter. They were doing car shows. They were doing import models and all those things. So Lyle was kind of instrumental in trying to bring that culture and scene here back in the late 90s. So that's how I met him. He actually asked me if I wanted to pass out flyers. I lived in California. I knew the lifestyle. So I was just promoting for him. And from that sort of time, that's when Dynasty Entertainment became more of a Asian nightlife lifestyle marketing company.
Right.
It spawned, right? It was not just parties. It was really taking advantage of the Asian American demographic and how per capita we spent most money, but we were the least recognized or promoted.
Right.
So that was like the mantra of the company, Dynasty, and that's how it spawned. And they wanted to get the awareness out there all across all outlets, music, entertainment. Filipinos by trade, right? We're entertainment folks, right? So we're good at interfacing with people and kind of getting along with everybody.
Right.
So I think that was kind of how it originated, at least in my perspective. Lyle will probably give you.
So did it start in the late 90s, early 2000s?
I would say, yeah, Dynasty itself.
Okay.
The people were around a little bit before that, but the actual company got together.
Right. Okay. And who else was involved in that early on?
I mean, it was just Lyle, and then I think he had a bunch of people like from California. So he had also, if you know Lyle, had kind of lived back and forth. He grew up, I believe, in Glendale Heights, if I'm not mistaken, but he also moved to California and came back. So he kind of brought that with him. But it was, I mean, to my knowledge, it was Lyle and a bunch of people from California. He had people here, but they were more in the import car scene, specifically. Yeah.
And how old are you, Voltaire?
Oh, how old do I feel or how old am I? So I'm 48.
48?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to get a time frame of, unfortunately I was gone. I didn't come back to Chicago till like 95. And then, it just adult stuff had to, it's top of my priorities. So I didn't get the chance to hang with all the cool kids.
Oh, boy.
So what clubs were you guys promoting at and stuff?
I mean, kind of, if you think about the run of the mill of every club that was out there in the late 90s, 2000s, right? So Zentra, Dragon Room. We had our own club, Eclipse, which was like, I think in Melrose Park. It's not there anymore, but we did a lot of events there. But you're sort of run of the mill of every club that I think everybody went to back in those days. We were throwing events at those clubs alongside a rival company at the time, Ginseng. So shout out to Vic Malaysia, who was also kind of instrumental in building the scene as well.
Nice.
So, so an event's coming up, the event coming up. Now, is this event Dynasty sponsored, produced event? It's not every year though.
No, so there's prior iterations of it.
Right.
They've done the reunion sort of old school party a few times.
Right.
But not every year. It hasn't been something that's been done every year. I think there's a huge gap in between the last one.
Right.
But this one is the penultimate one. It's the one that we're sort of bringing back the old school format and bringing some artists and among other things. So it's a larger event. There's been some build up to it.
Right. Because I know of a lot of ex-Chicagoans coming back home to do this with you guys. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the scene is strong, right? And even though people have left Chicago and they've moved on to, Nevada, California, and all these different states,
right.
I think, everyone is still connected, right? They still want to come back and be part of something that they were part of many years ago.
Chicago's still home to most.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
good.
Still the best city.
Yeah.
Visually, at least. I don't know. Is it? I see Rod's face. He's like,
yeah, right. Depends.
yes.
The fan, it's all subjective. So who's performing now at the event?
So Jocelyn Enriquez, right? So if anyone knows Jocelyn Enriquez of Do You Miss Me fame, so that's the track, that kind of the freestyle track that I think historically she was the first Asian American artist, Filipino American artist to get signed to a U.S. label. So very instrumental in breaking and opening the door for artists today,
right,
in the music industry, Filipinos in general. And then there's Kai, right? So I think anybody who had a slow jam CD or tape back in the day and were trying to get with a girl, I'm sure there was like
some baby making music.
100%. Kai was one of the first boy band or boy groups or male groups to tour with NSYNC as a Filipino American group. They were signed to Geffen Records. Again, made a lot of records that were very instrumental in driving the industry forward. Right, they kind of paved the way for what now you see. We're a lot more prevalent, like as a people and a race and a culture.
Yeah. So are they still performing? I mean, nationwide. So
so Kai, at least in my limited history, we lost contact. I still talk to them. But, Kai, the group, the two core members broke off, and then there was two other groups, Drop in Harmony and Interlude, which were also groups that came from the Bay.
Right.
They made like an all-star team, and it was called 6 Day. It was a group called 6 Day. And there was a big following then. That was like later 2000s. And then they were performing. They toured around the world.
Right.
And then I think since then, we've all gotten older.
Well,
life comes back to put us back in our place.
Right.
So everybody's kind of doing the family thing. But they're still active in the scene. They still sing and do gigs from what I can see at least. But I don't think they're as active as they were.
Well, they're coming down, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fantastic.
You can expect a big crowd this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's been a huge rush of pre-sale. I don't know the numbers. Lyle's really more into the logistics, but definitely a big pre-sale number already. And then the hype has been, it's been going on. The promotion's been going on for months. So I think everybody's going to be in high anticipation of coming. And yeah, I do expect a pretty good turn.
So they're going to be playing like a lot of old school house music.
100%. I guarantee there's going to be a song in whatever DJ that's playing that's going to stir up a memory of your now wife or significant other, for sure. Yeah.
No, so how are you guys going to do that with the performers? Is it just going to be in between DJ sets, or are you guys loading everything?
Yeah, there's going to be like a sort of concert schedule or itinerary, and then obviously afterwards is going to be like just almost like a day club. It's a day club concept.
Right.
Which we know as older generation, right? Like we're not built to stay out till 4 a.m. and go get a Maxwell's Polish or White Castle. So it starts at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, allows us to, imbibe what you're going to imbibe, and then you get to go home and still be a parent and be responsible and go to work the next day.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that. You have a daytime event, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it ends at 7, at Joe's and stuff. I've heard nice things about that place.
Oh, yeah.
I just find that interesting. And I was just like, when I was looking up the flyer, just to get a couple details for today's show, I was like, oh, yeah, man, that's right. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I might be able to hit that one up.
Yeah, no, it's clearly age appropriate for us now.
100%.
Timing wise,
you can front load with ibuprofen and he's, Bengay and the medication that you guys need for that age.
That's
well good.
Freaking awesome, bro. That is awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
So, as far as the DJs go, you got a pretty big lineup. I mean, is anybody in particular headlining or anything like that?
I think with the DJs, at least to my thinking of what the lineup looks like, they're all kind of headliners in their own right.
Absolutely.
Sure. They've done their time, they paid their dues and done all the big gigs. And so it really was just not highlighting one DJ in particular.
Right.
It's just, it's an all-star lineup, kind of like an all-star game.
Right.
I don't know who the Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani is of the DJs. I'm sure they'll all have their arguments, but I'm just the MC. So I'll be kind of being the master of ceremonies and getting everything moving and perhaps being funny for about 2 minutes in between acts, and that's about it.
Nice.
Well, it's going to be exciting. You say so you're the MC.
Yep.
You're basically running the show, at least up front on the mic.
Yeah, front of the house.
You're front of the house, right? So I mean, I'm assuming there's a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of hard work going into this, and planning is going on for how long now?
Oh gosh, months. I mean, like I have to say 6-7 months, at least from when it was kind of finalized that we were going to do it.
Right.
The venue down. Yeah, it's been over half a year.
Wow.
Sort of putting things together, and it's a great use. It's a good segue. Shout out to Ray and Roland, by the way. A lot of the behind the scenes folks don't get some of the credit, right, for putting together the graphics and the plugs and the social media posts and all the support staff, the people that kind of do things. It's always everyone remembers the acts and they remember the DJs, and
right?
Maybe they'll remember the MC. But never give props to the people that kind of put things together. So
is this the brainchild of you and Lyle then getting this reunion together? I mean, how did this?
This is all
step off.
Lyle has always been the ideation guy, right? It's his company, it's his brand. The people that kind of play a part, me and, Dave DeMano, right? Someone, JJ, all some of the old school guys that have been around for a while. We've all always supported the culture and the brand. So usually Lyle will come up with an idea and then either we'll tell him, he's crazy and it's not going to work, or no, this is something that works. And I think this is pretty easy, right? I think getting a bunch of 40 and 50 somethings to find a babysitter and get out, you have an excuse to have some drinks on a Sunday afternoon and see people you haven't seen in a decade. I think that's pretty easy. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be fantastic. Also, so besides the main event, you said release another
event. Oh yeah. So there's a comedy show. So we did plug it. There's a comedy show on Friday, August 8th.
Okay.
That is at it's an art gallery who I think Louis de Guzman. I don't know if you guys know who Louis de Guzman is. So, and frankly, I'm also so not plugged into the scene that I don't know a lot of his work, but he's definitely a Filipino-American artist who kind of gained some fame and some notoriety for his work. He's kind of a nationally recognized brand. So he has his own art gallery in Chicago. And so Lyle said, hey, let's put together a comedy show.
That's different.
Which is different. Yeah. I think it's, there's a lot of parties out there, but we thought like a lead up to the party would also help drive some brand awareness and, some excitement. So, and it's all going to like a bunch of really good foundations. I believe it's the AC Matza Foundation, which is He's one of the members of Kai who passed away, and he was very sort of philanthropic and like doing work with the younger generation and like pushing music and like teaching them how to read music. And he was a very talented musician. So that's the foundation, and one of many I think that the proceeds are going to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going on a limb here.
All right.
Say that none of us are pretty much doing the club scene anymore, but do you know anything going on in the Asian scene, with other Asians, with the nightclubs and stuff? Any younger promoters that have stepped up to the plate in your eye that think are pushing this whole Asian scene? Or is it just not like what it was when you guys were?
I think there are groups. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm probably not the best person to ask to, because I'm not, frankly, I don't really go out very much.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my days at Costco, and
Oh, you too. That's the only club I go to right now. That's Costco.
I mean, if anything, I have a tiny bit of a social media following because I post. Me and my wife post stuff on IG from Costco.
Oh,
People actually ask us like,
freaking awesome.
"You guys haven't gone to Costco this weekend?" Because we're like timely with our posts. But
Nice.
yeah, I would say though, like there is an active scene. There's obviously DJs that are like the next generation that have been out there actively doing clubs and bars and have weekly residencies. I don't know that there's an Asian American promotion company. I think that the game has changed a little bit.
Sure.
It's not like a prevalent Asian American company that's throwing events,
Right.
versus DJs that are, it's kind of melted together. It's not like a focused demographic. It's DJs that are being active and doing clubs and bars, and the promotion companies are more, I guess, culturally agnostic, right? So it's just like across the board, they're DJing, at least to me. That's what I say.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't have social media back then. We had word of mouth and
Pagers.
flyers, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you get word of mouth in an instant.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the game has changed. I mean, everywhere, the industry, music, promotions, like artists that come out of nowhere, it's easier for them to get discovered. I kind of wish that when I was an aspiring rapper back in the 90s and 2000s, I wish I had those outlets. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I could have made some waves, and I would have been an artist, and they would have been bringing me to headline a party as an artist. But yeah, it's definitely different. The game has changed, and social media is a big part of it. One would argue that it's sometimes a little bit brain rotty in a way.
Yeah.
Like you got to, like with anything else in moderation, social media is what you make of it. Sometimes people can fall into a trap. But anyway, that's a rabbit hole. Whether or not we get down there that's something I haven't gone on to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, social media and times are different, but it's nice that you guys kind of bring it old school.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like old people in technology. Like you can't just drop something on them that they don't know. You got to teach them how to use the VHS. I'm now referencing shit I used to do.
Well, yeah. We all did.
Yeah. Teach me how to use the remote, right? Like, yeah. So.
Yeah, I never figured out the time on the VHS player. Stayed constant, 12.
12. It's all about all day long.
Flashing.
Yeah.
Kids probably don't even know what the hell we're freaking talking about, but not at all.
Shout out to Betamax. We were a Betamax family, by the way.
Yeah.
we were on the wrong side of this. So we bought, Sony. We're like Betamax. The tapes are smaller. It was a better technology, actually. If you research, Betamax had a superior technology, but they didn't have the right marketing, and they didn't have the ease of use. So it was too complex for people. Right. VHS won out, and it became the brand.
Right.
So so I'm assuming that you kind of enjoy these reunion scenes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is it
Yeah.
nostalgic for you and stuff like that? Getting to catch up. It just seems, the older we get, the only times we get to see some of our old friends are obviously at tragic events or something. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, yeah.
And this is a nicer way of, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, they had the reunion at the Rizal Center and stuff. It was nice.
Ron Bildo, right?
Yeah, dude, he's a go-getter and stuff, so I think he did a pretty good job. And all, in the big picture, trying to get that place, it's important to the Filipino community and trying to restore that place and keep it going. And,
Yeah.
that community that it serves, in other ways up there. So I I thought they did a great job. Just it did bring back some memories.
100%.
Yeah, I just thought for me, it was just, it's the first time I've been there since I got back from the military.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, I got back 95, so I thought they had closed down. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was pretty interesting. So
30 years later.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why, I look at these reunion events, I have different perspectives. You know what I mean?
You have an Asian American perspective.
Just, well, there you go.
I'm branding.
There you go, man. There you go. Save it for the intro. I'm going to take you to it, bro. So, it's just, it is pretty neat seeing guys. Like I said, Eric and I have had numerous conversations about this stuff. It is nice seeing some of the guys and stuff like that. And for the most part, it does bring back some good memories and stuff. So, I'm glad guys like you and Ron are, doing these things for the community and stuff, and, getting people out there and having a shout out to you guys for doing it at a decent time. You know what I mean?
Look, hey, age is a real thing, right? So being sensitive of the demographic we're serving.
Right. Yeah, because I remember we used to leave at 9 to go out.
Oh yeah.
Now,
and it was pre-gaming. And
they
get there because Filipinos, and I'll tell you culturally, and everyone knows the stigma. We're late everywhere. We're late.
Oh man,
Filipino time. That's the real thing. That's when you say be there at 9, we'll be there at 10.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. Dressed to the gills though, because we're all
Yeah.
By the way, off topic, but I did want to bring it up because you did bring up Ron in the event.
Sure.
There was a bit of pressure for me to do this when Ron had reminded us in his plug that I would be interviewing with the Filipino version of Captain America. He said it, and I was like, wow, that's pressure. And when Ron said to do the podcast,
it's hilarious.
Man, I need to go to the gym. I need to do something like it's Captain America.
Oh man,
Mr. Manila.
Yeah.
So
it's like Lieutenant Manila, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like a.
So that came from Tommy Choi, and this is probably the second time since we started this podcast, his name has come up. He is big in the Illinois political scene. And I gotta say he was pretty he was pretty much the reason I got a Lifetime Achievement Award from Governor Brown back in the day. And that's the way he introduced me. And then God knows how many times people have been calling me up, hey, Captain Filipino or something like that. Just like, dude, so shout out to Tommy. I owe you a nickname. So but that is hilarious. Ron and those guys are great guys. And I took care of the he asked me to take care of the security, hiring a company to deal with the the event that night, because they wanted to, kudos to them, they wanted to do it right, get the permits and stuff like that, and that was part of the deal, is getting security, but I kind of gave him a heads up. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to be here till midnight. I'll make sure everything's going great.
Sure.
Make sure the guys show up on time and, know what they're supposed to be doing. But, man, there's no way I'm making it midnight. And they went on further than that.
Well, I would also say Saturdays, nobody's getting into fights anymore. I feel like we're too.
Yeah, and that's what I told the security guys, and I was like, listen, this is going to be a bunch of Gen X, Filipinos, Asian people. You're not going to have any issues. No. This is going to be an easy gig for you guys. So, but it turned out to be a great event, and, I that was what I was going to ask, did you guys know of each other's events at the same time that was going to happen?
I think that's a Lyle and Ron conversation. I'm not sure they knew, and they obviously cross-promoted and they were plugging each other and stuff. So I'm sure they knew from a Dave perspective, but I'm just, I think when I got brought into it, they were both already kind of established.
Right.
Ready to go.
Yeah. And, that's one thing I noticed on both platforms, they're both promoting each other's events, which I mean, I'm sure, if you come across other Filipino events that, or discounting other Filipino events that are happening at the same time and stuff. So
culturally, that's a problem we've had I think historically Filipinos are, and I hate to say it, I'll call it what it is.
Yeah. Like we've talked about it here before. So
Like Chicago hate, there's two things. There's two levels. Chicago hate is a real thing. So like in Chicago during the music industry and in any sort of industry where people are trying to come up, Chicago hate's there. And sometimes people knock each other down. And I think you overlay Filipino culture where it really sometimes is about status and who you know. And sometimes we don't reach back and help each other.
Right.
So I think that's why for me, no brainer. Ron calls me and can you do the podcast? I'm like, sure, 100%. Like I'm not
Awesome.
whether or not your view or my view of something is something. Like I don't care. Like I'm just here to support you guys in your project, and hopefully 2 months from now he's wearing a Captain America suit. That's what I'm here for.
I think he wears one to your events. What I'm saying.
I did. I'm so in.
you could pretty much just bet on that not happening. So I don't have the physique. Still,
Dude, you can draw six. I mean, six pack.
we did have Dr. Ed Adahar here the other,
I saw that.
and so
He might
have to.
talk to him about
Well, yeah, there'll be part 2. So
TH, man. What's up?
Yeah, there's going to be a part 2, but yeah, maybe I can have him do some quick surgery on my quick lipo to
Yeah.
draw in some lines in there for my abs.
Yeah.
Unless that happens, I seriously doubt I'll be just kind of
I'll kind on this.
See, I'll buy tickets for that for days.
Sure. Hey, I'm in.
So you want to sell out? You get him to do that.
If there's first, I'm second. I'll buy 5-6 tickets at least.
yeah.
100%.
Thank God my wife wouldn't let me
Yeah.
wear something silly like that out. Or I don't know, maybe, but just to get a laugh out of it. But so what do you want to plug? I mean, what's your social platforms? What do you got going on?
Yeah.
Get your voice out and stuff. What do you got going on?
So it's kind of funny is like, I think just to tell a story of COVID and so you had touched
Have at it.
when I built a Twitch channel. So during COVID, obviously, and when everything shut down, the world shut down for whatever reason, I had been retired as a DJ and out of the scene for over 16, 17 years. My turntables were sitting in a storage unit, just collecting dust. And I remember getting on Twitch. I used to be a Twitch, like kind of just viewer. I would watch gamers. Honestly, I'm a gamer, right? So I would watch people playing like Call of Duty and, just anyways, I get a call from Dave DeMono and he calls me. He's like, hey,
Double D.
Double D. Well, he doesn't like him called Double D. It's D double, but I call him Double D too, though. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'd rather call him.
Let's call him Dave.
That's it.
Old man Dave, Father Time.
Yeah.
I call him a lot of things. He calls me. He's like, hey man, you still have your DJ equipment? I was like, yeah, it's been sitting in storage forever. He's like, look, man, I started streaming on this platform, Twitch. Oh, I know what Twitch is. He's like, yeah, I'm DJing on Twitch. And it was like, during that time, it was like people were doing it, but it wasn't big. Like there were some people that were DJing, but he was DJing. And he's like, yeah, like there's a big following. And he's like, honestly, I'm kind of making a little bit of money too. And he's like, you should think about it. And I thought, well, I'm home, I'm working remotely, not doing much. I'm like, okay. So I had to convince my wife to take this stuff out of storage and find a space for it. And she's like, what are you trying to do? And I'm like, I'm going to bring it up his channel. Yeah. I'm like, just a midlife crisis. Let me, I'm the DJ, I miss it. So anyways, long story short, I started a Twitch channel and the scene kind of blew up at that time. There was a bunch of different groups that were doing things. There was a group called DFH, which is Dance From Home. And that's sort of the next generation of DJs that are active now.
Say Dance From Home?
Yeah. That was their branding. And one of the key guy that was running things, his name was Jeff Mobby. Mabilangan, I think is his last name, his full last name, but went by Jeff Mobby. And one of the key DJs was Eris's son, Charles.
Eris Tapacio.
All right. So like, he goes by DJ Wildcat. So then anyway, there was a group, a generation after us that are sort of active. They started doing a lot of Twitch streaming, like organized DJing and stuff. And so anyways, we got into it. We built this like huge following. We met a bunch of DJs from across the world, which you never get to do as a DJ prior to COVID. Because like, no one's going to book you to go spin gig in UK or in Australia to meet a bunch of DJs. And I think Twitch was a platform that allowed us to do gigs together virtually.
Right.
So we met a bunch of people. So it all spawned. And so where I'm going with this is there's a group that we founded, me, Dave, and shout out to DJ Rex and Christian. We founded a group called the Hoy Luck Club. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and funny story on the name too, but the Hoy Luck Club the concept was a collective of DJs, producers, all in the entertainment industry that really gave each other support, gigs, pointers. Like it was like a big Wikipedia of music entertainment.
Right.
And so we wanted to like also bring up some of the younger, like next generation. So we wanted to pass on a lot of this knowledge that we had that goes away if you don't pass it. Right. So, and that group is a strong group of like a mixed group of DJs and, like I said, producers and stuff. So coming out of COVID, we built this group that has different people in different states and stuff, which is kind of awesome. Like you don't do that honestly without COVID, to be honest. Like
Right.
Yeah. So that group is something that we've kept together. We continue to build, trying to fold in some of the newer, younger folks to pass that sort of culture and knowledge on. So just wanted to give that shout. Hoy Luck Club is if you know, it's a play on words.
Yeah, that's funny.
Joy Luck Club, if you remember that.
Right.
Me and Dave were talking on Zoom because obviously, COVID, right? So
Oh, yeah.
we're talking on Zoom and we're trying to think of a name for this group that we were putting together. And I was like, but we're Filipino. I was like, so like a play on words. It's like Hoy Luck Club, but Hoy Luck Club, right? And like, it was a joke, but then it spawned and like we had some merch runs and the branding was there. So it has some big following, and our social media presence is it's decently, at least locally, it's pretty big, and we continue to support each other. So like, the active DJs that do gigs and stuff, we promote them too. And we try to get the word out for them. And for this Dynasty reunion stuff, like Lyle knows, he put our sort of branding on stuff on the flyers, and we're still kind of representing as a group as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So actually, off topic, kind of on topic, I think Ron, when we started talking about doing this podcast, you called me, earlier this year, maybe even late last year. Yeah. So Ron, he wants to pick my brain. It's like, what do you think about podcasts? I'm like, they're cool. It's like, I listened to a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then so in the time from him asking me, and then he's done a lot of research and put things together and stuff. And then he's like, yeah, do you know that Voltaire guy? I'm like, yeah, I think he's got a podcast. Because, you're the first one that came up because, honestly, between all, local Filipino guys, you're kind of the only one that we knew that kind of in this realm, right? And then, months later, Ron calls me. He's like, yeah, you ready? I'm like, ready for what? Ron, for our podcast, I thought you were just asking me about it, bro.
Yeah,
That's after several text messages. And
he called me too.
Yeah, because I was just like, hey, I knew you had some stuff going on, kind of point me in the right direction, and he kind of led me down this path to, start researching, thinking about how I want to do this and how I want to promote. And, you were right about time consuming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is definitely an investment in time, especially if you have like an end game, sort of a goal, right? You're like, what do I want to get out of this podcast? Like, what sort of messaging do you want to get? So you find yourself in a battle of reining it in, because like it can get out of control where you just end up becoming, and that kind of really happened to my podcast a little bit, is the format became an online conversation. At that point, it was just like we would get on stream and like we would talk about a bunch of different things, and there was so much good content, but it wasn't curated.
Right.
There was no flow, and then we would just talk, and these episodes would be 3-4 hours long. And I was like, okay, like at some point I was like, this is time consuming, right? Like if you're streaming, you're recording for 4 hours.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I would love to just go, let's freaking, shoot the shit for 3 hours and stuff. You see the Sean Ryan show, his podcast go on for almost 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours, but he's got people to do the editing. Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, you got that's the ugly part that no one knows.
yeah,
Like the editing of the videos. Yeah.
I'm on day 2. Probably got like 6 hours in so far on our last episode with Dr. Adahook. And we went probably just about an hour and 20 minutes, and lining up the sound, dude. And I'm the worst kind of Asian, man. I don't even own an Xbox, so all this electronic stuff is.
Yeah, he's talking this to a gamer right here.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I was just like, it took everything in me not to. Hey, Voltaire, can you please edit this video for me? So, a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of YouTube videos has got me through this. A lot of research and what equipment to get and stuff, and it was a big learning curve.
The setup is impressive. So honestly, like if you think about my perspective of all this, from your phone call to me and our text message back and forth, and then a big blank area, and then I come here and I'm like, look, you a couple episodes in, you have the right setup. So definitely, man, kudos to you, man.
Yeah, and I'm
the research and stuff.
I'm being serious. Everybody out there, Voltaire was my first message sent. Say, hey, give me a call when you get a minute. I want to pick your brain about something. So I'm glad you, kind of shed the light and kind of give me forewarning about the time consumption part, because you were right, and, it's a lot of fun. I'm somewhat retired. I did go back full time. It's not a real, police job. I don't think, you know what I mean? But it's, it's nice to have, people come in here and tell us what's going on in their lives and their story, or promote whatever they got going on and stuff. And it's just an excuse to, get people in here. And, if you, I think you had mentioned this to me about doing my research. Like, I did do my research, and I looked up to see if there are any other podcasts, just for the Asian community here in Illinois, aside from, what you guys were doing on Twitch. There really wasn't a format like this, a couple Asian dudes or a couple Filipino guys sitting around shooting the shit and, plugging stuff and, talking about stuff that affects us. You know what I mean? So, I thought it was, I was like, yeah, why not, man? Let's try to get this off the ground. And, we get a lot of compliments, got a lot of calls and texts, and, a lot of people are waiting for this last episode we did, because, men's health, at our age, and
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Trying to keep shit together, keep things working, for men.
Keep Blue Cross Blue Shield in business.
Yeah, there you go.
Health insurance, yeah, it's a major reason.
I am on that same page, bro. So, and like I said, kudos to you, and I really appreciate you, not just, telling me, but, telling me the pitfalls and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are a lot of hang-ups in this, trying to get things together, and then you watch the video and you're like, fuck, I should have done this way, or, I should have checked the sound a little bit better, or whatnot. So, but yeah, I appreciate that.
100%. Your guys' intro, by the way, super serious.
So,
I was when I was first put on the episode, I'm gonna do, because I had to do my homework too when you asked me to come do it. I was like, all right, let me watch their podcast. Came to find out what I'm gonna get into. Like, the intro comes on. Oh damn, it's like a freaking 90s action movie. Like,
yeah.
Jesus. Is Bruckheimer gonna come out and like fireworks and like it's whole?
Oh, wait till season 2, whatever he's got planned though.
That's got about it's got about 3-4 more episodes before I change that intro up. So
I mean, it is cool. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Like, I was at first I thought, like, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta show up with like legitimate knowledge.
Yeah. Well, no,
just putting the 12 photos together and to get it to do that, and then putting a soundtrack to it, that was for me a 2-week process. And I'm sure some little 14-year-old to get it done in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But it took me, literally 2 weeks, and I'm, oh my God, hopefully this comes out all right and stuff. So
You can probably work out to it. I'm just saying, like, the intro was like the hype. You know what I mean? Like, I would do some squats to it.
So it's up on the playlist now.
Yeah.
Just loop it and just
Yeah, there you go.
yours. You're like,
Yeah. So how often do you guys put stuff out on Twitch?
So not anymore.
No?
So yeah, it's been a sort of dead area now where I've been in this, like, the process of starting up again. So yeah, I've been talking to people and trying to figure it out. And I've been watching I have all of my old videos archived and sort of watching them. And now I'm doing more curation to that point where I was talking about where we didn't rein in the boundaries of the cast and it was just too much. I'm trying to focus on a couple of things, which I had started. So I actually had an audio podcast prior to. It was called the CBO Narrative, and it was like life experience, career, professional development. So it was really focused, right? And with it was a lot of what I've gone through in my career. I'm not a traditional college graduate, don't have a degree, but having been able to build a career out of it through experience, through networking, through a bunch of other things, which I think I want to break that stigma too. It's like sort of Filipinos, you know, we're taught from our parents and first generations, right? If you're not a doctor, not a lawyer, you're not successful, right? In their eyes. And I get it, right? They, you know, I'm first gen. So my parents were immigrants. They came here and they tried to make the best life for my families. Sure. Part of it is like, hey, I'm investing in you. We want you to be doctor or esquire on your email signature, right? Right. And so definitely they were disappointed for a little bit. I think now they're okay. Now that I've kind of ended. But yeah, that whole journey, like sometimes people don't want to talk about that. And I'm like, look, man, we all take different paths, and success it's defined by yourself, right? It's not defined by culture or defined by your peers, or people need to remember that, man. Like you define your own success, right?
Yeah, you know, and I hear you about the whole parents thing. You know, there was an uncomfortable conversation, you know, telling my parents I got kicked out of Lane. You know what I mean? And then, you know, at the time,
well, that's why you lost your Filipino card.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of Lane, that's it. You're done.
Failing algebra freshman year. That's, you know, even the summer school teacher.
Like, man, at that point,
yeah, he was like, "Are you kidding me? Well, what are you doing here?" You know what I mean? I'm just like, dude, I failed freaking algebra. So, but yeah, you know, like you, I didn't take the traditional route. You know, got my kid's mother, my girlfriend at the time, pregnant. You know, I had to grow up real quick, and you know, military was my way out. You know what I mean? I didn't finish high school. I wasn't your typical Asian kid or typical Filipino kid for that matter. You know, and,
Marines?
Navy.
Yeah, I just insulted.
No, it's fine. It's all right. Best time of my life. You know, so it was a good time. And then, you know, like I said, I'd probably be a pretty. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So, and I'm glad I took a different path. You know, and I'm not saying, you know, the traditional, you know, Filipino, you know, a nurse, you know, or doctor.
Wrong with it.
But yeah, they make good money, you know, and you can't walk into a hospital and throw a rock down the hallway and not hit a Filipino person. You know what I mean? So kudos to them for being smart enough to follow up on that career and stuff like that.
I'm married to one, so
well, there you go.
I had to check a box somehow. If I'm not legitimately Filipino, at least marry a Filipino nurse.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? By
there you
osmosis, I'd be legitimate. So, yeah.
What else you want to plug? What do you got coming up in your life?
I mean, other than like gonna stand up the cast again, and really want to curate and focus the cast on a few different topics, right? So I'm a degenerate gambler. I'm sure anyone can at least relate from a sports perspective.
Yeah,
sports fans. So I definitely want to get into some content of like the perspective of like a regular Joe that's not an expert at gambling and loses money and is bets with his heart, even though you shouldn't, right? I don't look at statistics and analytics. It's like, I've been on the Cubs and like they lost the other day against the White Sox and it hurt a little bit. But like that perspective though is relatable, right? There's a lot, like probably 90% of the people that are sports fans are not very good at sports. So sports betting, you know, I am big into like fitness. I've always been like a power lifter. I'm definitely not anywhere near where I was 10 years ago. But
none of us are.
Oh yeah. But I still like, I have people at work, like my employees that are younger. I make them take time to go to the gym. So I tell them like, hey, like I want you to disappear. Like just go away for an hour, 2 hours, go to the gym. So I like want to talk about fitness and what it means to me being almost 50, like what I do, the mental clarity, the confidence, everything that it brings, right? The whole fitness thing. And then just, you know, like music. I think music in general, culture, I thought about politics. I thought that would be interesting, but like cancel culture is still real. And honestly, yeah, I know I'm gonna get Ron triggered here, but no, I just think, and I'm gonna say it, and I hate that cancel culture is prevalent amongst friends.
Oh, dude.
It's stupid, right? I feel like whatever political view, stance, whatever side of the fence you are, ultimately we're all still people. And if you're friends, you're friend, right? Like I think you can't let your belief of something discount your friendship or family.
Yeah, but reality is that's what it is. People, you think different, you act differently, you're different.
Yes.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Eric and I are on the same page with this. We have a lot of friends that, don't share the same views. We don't treat them any differently on our side. You know what I mean? But a lot of times, Eric and I myself are a little ostracized, from these groups. You know what I mean? Or like the Filipino. I'm sure you can see this sometimes. A lot of cliques going on. You know what I mean? In groups, and you're just like,
we're cliquish people.
Yeah, and if you're not have a certain bumper sticker on your Prius, then you're not part of that club. You
don't want to coexist.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just no. I think it's hilarious, but I'm glad you brought that up, man. It's just I don't. I kind of have an idea what side of the aisle you sit on, but I give two shits. You know what I mean? I want to see you succeed, and that's why I brought you on. I thought it'd be a good way to plug your event. And I'm sure you didn't know my views either, and you answered my text. You answered my So and I appreciate people like you and stuff. So
now, mind you, there's boxes that get checked.
No,
so,
sure, good. Well, yeah,
there's two F-150s out there. A cop. I mean, check. No, I'm kidding. I kid. See, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like, because, to me, I fancy myself as always being sort of a comedian, and I think that's
sure.
And so again, to plug the show, right, the comedy show, I'm hosting that show, and one of my bucket list items in life have always been to pursue like stand-up comedy. I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy.
Nice.
And so I was like, hey, you should host a show. And I didn't think about it because I've never hosted a comedy show, that I'm going to have to write material. Like I'm off the cuff funny. Like I can do that. But now I have to think about, they're going to intro me as the host. I'm going to have 5 minutes to actually do comedy. And in between acts, I have to tell jokes to keep
that's a whole show in itself.
And I was like, I didn't really think about it. Like, the last couple weeks I've been like neck deep in like research, because I'm like, okay, what jokes are going to hit? And like, and so my wife is like, well, are you going to go political? Because I feel like you might ostracize yourself too. And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't give a shit. Like, to me, and so so my point is, I'm such a troll, like comedy wise. When I start to see when somebody's sensitive about something political, I go the complete opposite.
To me, that's what makes it funny for me.
Funny. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
I start saying like outlandish stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I believe that. And then they're like, really? You support? And then it goes down this whole rabbit hole, and I'm like, look, I respect your opinion. At the end of the day, it's your opinion.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Believe what you want to believe. Like, all I ask is you do your own research. Do your research. If you have, we honestly can take data, we can take media, we could take all of this stuff, and we can form our own opinion, right? It's honestly, that's the internet. It's kind of dangerous in a way.
Sure.
You can, like you said, you can go down this rabbit hole of things to find out, and then you end up thinking a certain way. But as an American, I respect that. It's your view, right? I'm not here to convert you into some sort of like religion that I'm building or some view. If you've done your research and you have a formed opinion, cool. If you blindly believe something, okay, I have a different opinion about that, but I respect it whatever you decide. And I just like to troll. I think when I see people are sensitive about it, I'll definitely.
Yeah, it hurts taking the high road, man.
Yeah, it does. And it's unfortunate. I've seen a lot of people cancel each other on social media. You see friendships and families get broken up, right? Because they believe one thing over another, and it's just, I think it's stupid. Like,
Wasted energy, man. Wasted energy. So it's just, there are other things we could be concentrating on.
yeah. So like, shout out to guns and trucks and cops and hugging trees and Priuses
And all lifting
and weightlifting. Like, you just, you know, just go down the line.
and rainbows.
Rainbows,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, you know, free immigration, deport everybody, but immigrate everyone. Do it all.
Yeah. Let's bring them in. We'll all use the same bathroom. You know what I mean? So,
I think it's more interesting the way they have to draw the logos.
Oh.
You know, because I think I saw the other day, I saw it at a bathroom, and it was like half dude, and then there was like a dress on the other side.
oh my God.
And I was confused for a second. I was like, so wait, I can use this then, right? I mean, because anyways, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I like to make jokes about this stuff because people get real sensitive about it, and I think we just all need to lighten up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. It ain't that serious.
Yeah. End of the day, I got to wake up and pay taxes and feed my kids and you know, do the things that we need to do as individuals, right, with our own families. Like,
And none of those people that disagree with you are helping you do that.
no, not at all. You're not paying my bills. You're not, you know,
That's why I don't worry too much.
you're not getting on the grind, and you're not funding my Captain America suit. Yeah. I'm gonna keep saying it.
That's fine, man. I deserve it. You know, I deserve it.
The next episode's going to be superhero episode.
Oh, see, the funnier part is telling people, because, Tommy's like, bring your friends and family or whatnot. And, I'm telling guys at work, and I was like, I'm getting this like lifetime achievement award from the governor. And like, for what? Think of that to people who die. You know what I mean? What did you do? And I was like, I think it was just my turn being Filipino, and it is Filipino Heritage Month. So I think that's why, and I appreciate it. It was a great time, getting something or being recognized. And Tommy Choi is a solid guy. So,
Shout out to you, man. I mean, like, serving the community for how many years, and obviously your service in the Navy. I was also prior service. I was in the Army as well.
We beat you guys this year.
You did. You said. And again, from the sports betting cultural reference, I lost a lot of money. So
I'll have to I'll call you up next year before the game to place a bet.
yeah, why not?
Broadcast it here.
And then, like, the loser has to wear a Captain America.
Yeah, there you go.
We're not letting that go, man, because until he wears it, we're not letting it go.
No, I'm telling you, like, Ron, you put this on him. Bilbo, you put it on Ron here.
Nice.
He's called him out as the Filipino version, Captain America. I'm paraphrasing because I forgot exactly how we said it, but
Yeah, he is a character. That is hilarious. Dude, I can't say this enough. I'm glad you finally were able to schedule something with us. Good luck on your upcoming Dynasty homecoming. Why don't you give them information on how to get tickets or they can pay at the door.
Yeah. Go to Instagram, follow Dynasty Reunion. It'll have all the links to buying tickets online. Otherwise, you can pay at the door. I believe there's a difference, like $10 or something. I don't know. At this point, I think we're all deep in our careers where extra $10 is not going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can buy the tickets there. You can buy the tickets for the comedy show as well. So follow Dynasty Reunion on Instagram. You get all the information on buying tickets. There's like merch. There's a couple like limited release T-shirts and stuff that they're putting out. They have a 7 Treasures T-shirt. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Nice.
There's a T-shirt that's
554.
554. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out to 7 Treasures. I miss that. Definitely a lot of memories.
Yeah.
The 8th treasure was in the bathroom. No one knew that. I found that a few times.
Just thinking about that place, just remind me I got to take my cholesterol pill. So
Shout out to Lipitor, not sponsored.
exactly. So, well, thanks again, Voltaire, Eric.
Awesome.
Thanks everybody for clicking on, and hope you guys enjoy this episode. Thanks, and give Voltaire a follow. Thanks, guys.